I'm Corey Strock, and she's Lynette Hapgood.
Hello.
And we're today's hosts of the candidate forum. We're going to start with the LUSD candidates. All three of them are here in the building. That's incumbent Sharon Lampel, and then Dr. Atul Khanna and Colin Clements.
So we keep talking about technology. Obviously, it's important. So we are taping the board meetings.
Yes.
So early on, when Ben came out and was doing his roadshow about the high school, sorry, Mr. Faubert, he was engaging people and saying, you can pose a question from anywhere. You can sit in the audience. You can be anonymous. Unanimous. I know I'm stuck on my question. You can be anonymous, right? And we don't even have to know that it's you posing the question. You can do it from home. So do we have the ability to do this with the school district now? Can people sit at home, send in questions, get those questions answered on the live feed?
Not yet. And our feed isn't live yet. We're working on it. It's recorded and posted later on. So no, we're not doing that yet.
Any inclination of when we will?
I don't know. I'd have to talk to the director of IT and ask.
Okay. So we're talking about parent engagement. As we said, people are commuting, right? So this would be a highly lucrative way to get parents involved, is to offer up the same technology we're giving their children as a means of communication for the board. And any ideas about how soon we can get this going? Would this be a priority for anyone?
You know, we have, where I work at Tracy, and the main office is in Stockton and Modesto, so we always have interactive WebEx meetings and the questions can come, I mean, there's a moderator there, and he's on the computer, and everybody else is on the computers, and questions are popping up, and the moderator responds to them, and it could be live in person he responds, or he could just type the response and direct it to that one person that's asking the question. So there is technology available. Now, I'm not sure about how you know, in terms of confidentiality, like obviously you couldn't do it in a closed session, you couldn't do it at, you know, certain personnel discussion and stuff like that, but I think there is a role for that, and you know, WebEx is a great, are you guys familiar with WebEx?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a great tool.
So I have to ask a clarifying question, if I may. Were you talking about school board meetings?
No. He did his roadshow. He came out to the schools.
Oh, I thought you were talking
Okay,
about
from
Well,
Sharon's
so what I'm
answer.
saying is we saw that technology a long time ago.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
saw, and superintendent was there, school board members were there, and this technology was being employed in that specific situation, saying you can sit here and ask whatever questions you want about the high school. You can talk about curriculum, you can talk about building, you can talk about when did my kids get to play volleyball. And you can post the questions. And he would read them on the screen and then answer them as they fit in with what he was telling us.
During his
Yes, yes, during the high school meetings. And the community was invited out to talk about it. And this was 2 years ago?
last year.
Yeah. Either way, this is technology that Ben brought as a means of getting parents involved and getting the word out and getting people excited and engaged in planning a high school.
Okay, so now I can actually answer that question now?
Answer away.
Okay, and I'm sorry, I totally misunderstood the question at first. As far as school board meetings, since the public comment period is limited and it's not for questions, it's for public comment, I think it's less relevant, so I'm glad we've clarified that. The technology absolutely exists, and it's just a matter of the person that's hosting that particular meeting, like Ben, is obviously very dedicated to technology, very dedicated to a web presence and remote locations and being able to do that. And I think that, you know, lack of understanding frequently creates nervousness and tension. And I, you know, as a school board member, you know, I would definitely be in favor of that because I know what it's like to be in San Francisco and go, oh crud, I have a blank meeting that I need to be at tonight and I've got to drive like a maniac to get home and I really can't do that. Whereas just being able to do WebEx or GoToMeeting or something like that would be incredible. And I think it's more, for our district, it's more a matter of finding the leaders, if you will, in that kind of a thing like Ben, and pairing them up with the others that maybe are more intimidated and showing them, you know what, it's not rocket science and it's not really that difficult. All you have to do is this. And I would definitely be pushing for that kind of mentorship and cooperation to, expand the web presence.
Yes, everyone would get their 3 minutes, right?
Right, but board members wouldn't be responding to that because they can only respond to things that are on the agenda.
Well, and a follow-up, to be fair, some things board members weren't aware of until parents stood up and got their 3 minutes.
Mhm.
So we have stopped some,
Absolutely.
we've stopped some things in their tracks because additional discussion is required.
But I mean, Ben or any of the principals, for example, if this technology were in place, could respond to any of these questions.
That's right.
Like immediately.
So was your original question about how this could work at the schools
No, my question is, why aren't we doing it with the school district?
for board meetings?
For the board meetings.
Well, because Brown Act,
Yeah,
yeah, they can't ask because they can't
it's something
respond.
interesting to
No, they don't
look
need to
into.
respond.
Oh,
and
just
that's
to
what I'm
hear
saying.
them? I
Yes.
don't see a problem.
Ben didn't respond to every question at all.
Yeah.
No,
Oh,
but some of the things he was
Stick it
already
during the board
addressing.
comment board.
Yeah.
Right.
We
The
can see
public
what
comment period.
people-
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Trending,
Yeah.
let's
Yes.
see what's trending with our parents during our meeting, right?
Or even a way,
That's what-
some kind of website where they could go and they could type in their question and it would pop up on a screen and we could just read the question or the comment or whatever. Yeah. see.
Or while one person's presenting, everyone else can go, ooh, wow, what did he say?
Mhm.
Oh, he actually works for that company. Hang on, let's talk with him before we go ahead and
Mhm.
make this decision. Could be beneficial, right? Okay, so we're coming back to you on this. You ready? As a doctor, you work at Kaiser, right? Pediatrician, we know this. So, some of us constantly get these patient satisfaction surveys in the mail, right? Every time you go to the doctor, you get one. They want to know how the nurse did, how the doctor did, how triage was. Was the ambulance driver polite? So we don't really get those surveys about our schools. We don't get them about our board members. We don't get them about the superintendent. The only time parents typically have a voice is if they come to the school board meeting and they may already be upset at that point. They may be misguided, their anger may be misdirected, or they go down to a school and have that discussion in person with an admin. What can we do to get more feedback from the parents, not via Facebook? Is there some kind of a satisfaction survey we can do? If any of you do get elected, is this something you're interested in, is finding out are parents still happy with you after you're in your seat?
So it's very interesting you brought up that topic because there's a book written out there. It's called If Disney Ran Your Hospital, and it's about this hospital administrator who quit his job and went to Disney for a while. Anyways, the funny story in that thing was in Orlando, where Disney World is, it's survey crazy. I mean, the author of this book actually got a ticket from a police officer. And the next day in the mail, they got a survey saying, was the officer courteous? Was the officer, did he ask for your license? And this is a true story. Anyways, my concern about this sending out survey, and I'm all for feedback because, we might think, as a board, we might think we're doing a great job, and then if we hear from this from the community members, that they're not as happy as we think they are. We need to change. As far as sending surveys, my only concern about sending surveys is how often would you send them out? You don't want to be surveyed out. I go to Macy's, I go to, Burger King, and I get a survey for everything. On the receipt, there's a survey. Please fill out this 5-minute survey. And if you have, God forbid you give them your email address, and you went to Chase Bank yesterday, how was the customer service person? I went to the ATM, it's just, that's the only thing I would do about too many surveys. But yes, I think should be whether it's a website we can type in stuff to give feedback, whether it's actually sending a paper survey home with your student. We want to get some feedback on Ben, or we want to get some feedback on Dr. Nichols. I think it's a good idea.
In this case, I'm going to sound an awful lot like a tool. We definitely have to go to the next level in our district in terms of soliciting feedback from the members of the community, because I think what happens is people, and I know this from campaigning over the last several months, people, they don't know what's going on, they don't know what to do with their feedback, right? Right now, they don't know. And that that creates frustration. Granted, everybody's excited about our district and the education that our children receive, and I don't think anybody is saying, oh, it's a terrible education. That's not the frustration. It's simply a lack of understanding of the keys to the city, if you will, in terms of how do I get my voice heard? How do I suggest change? How do I follow up to see what has happened based on my suggestion? And I have to be honest here and say I don't know that surveys are the answer, but I do know that communication and feedback needs to be a significant priority for the district and the school board in particular.
So school climate surveys are not uncommon. Sorry for the double negative. They're usually done when a parent organization or even a student organization, they're expressing that there's low morale. That's when I've seen them done in the past. Not to say that they can't be done at any time. We do some other surveys. There's some surveys that are required by the state, like the California Healthy Kids, and it goes more into than just health issues. There's a parent survey that can be done with that, and we'll give the district back some information. I've never heard of a satisfaction survey on the board, because that's usually done on election day. So there are surveys that exist, and if that's a need in the district, that's definitely something that we can do. I don't think that we've done one since I've been on the board. I don't remember hearing one, but it's something that, especially for the high school, that we should probably do at the end of year one. And that will help us drive future years.
And I would just say, as an incumbent, wouldn't you rather know what's coming at you? If people aren't happy, wouldn't you rather be able to campaign on those issues and say, this is what's going on, we understand it now, and this is how I'd like to help change it?
I would definitely prefer to get the information in a survey than on Facebook.
Yes, even if some of us fill it out twice. So we had a question posed, and this is regarding children in the community that have special needs. So I know that this is relevant to special education. A lot of people don't realize that that also does include our language learners. So it's not just children with delays, but they have other socioeconomic things that we have to consider. So what would each of you do to ensure that our special needs students, regarding language, special ed, everything, have the appropriate resources to meet their individual goals? And I believe most of us who understand this question know that we do have special programs set up to address those goals, and that is an annual offering. We bring them back, we talk with them, reevaluate how well they're doing. This may also relate to the program that is, I believe, set up at Wickland. Is that correct, Sharon?
Well, we have special education all over the district.
Okay. And so are we moving that to one central location?
There's many different forms of special education. There's self-contained classes, and that's what you're talking about at Wickland. But we also have what's called a resource program, and that's where students get supplementary services based on their individualized education program, commonly referred to as an IEP. That can be where somebody pushes into the classroom to give the student support, or they're pulled out for small group support. So there is special education everywhere in the district, because special ed also includes speech and language services, as well as occupational therapy. So it goes on at every school. Special services, English language learners, while they are specialized services, it's not under the umbrella of special education, because that's different funding. We are currently receiving funding for our English language learners, for English language development. That's a huge push under the new LCFF, the funding sources, that the way the district gets their money. So you're talking about two different programs, so I'm not sure what exactly the question was.
Apparently people want to know how we're going to make sure that these children have appropriate resources to meet their goals, regardless of what program they're in.
Well, I have to be honest, I don't know how to answer that. We have to, it's the law.
Do you
So
feel
if
that there are
they're not-
appropriate resources available to meet their individual
Yes,
goals?
I do.
And is that just because it's a law, or is that because we strive to be the best in education in the
Well,
county?
of course, we strive to be the best. We are the highest scoring district in all San Joaquin County.
So how are we
How can we say that?
exceeding the requirements? How
We
are
are
we
not-
being the best?
We're not missing the growth goals for our special education community. So we're meeting the needs, they're growing at the appropriate rate based on test scores from 2 years ago. We don't have standardized tests right now. We
We
will.
do not. We have math.
Yeah.
Okay, PP. Sorry.
Okay, well, since I am not an education professional and I am not currently on the board, I would really hope that Sharon would address that question with a lot more information than I could, and she did. What would I do as a school board member? I think the one thing that I've learned in being a CFO for as many years as I've been is know and be comfortable with what you don't know. And I really respect the teachers in our school district, and since I'm not an educational professional, I'm going to listen really closely to what the teachers have to say about the resources that they need. And at the district level, you might tend to push resources at a particular teacher or a program, and maybe the teachers are saying those are not the reasons. Yeah, you're sending us resources. Those aren't the resources that we need. Can we have this instead? And I think that what I would do is listen to what I refer to as the boots on the ground, the teachers in the classroom that are charged with these special needs children, and make sure that the resources that the district is sending is the resources that they're saying that they need.
I deal with special needs children all the time as a pediatrician, and it can be quite challenging to meet all the needs of a district for special education. I think it's important, like Colin said, and like Sharon said, there are different programs out there, so we have to make sure that what is needed for our particular district and our particular children in our district is available, and the resources, and that I think is the board's job, to make sure the resources are there, and that each special needs child has unique needs. And that, I think, like Colin was saying, is it has to come from the teacher saying that this child needs this. If it's in his IEP and he's not getting it, his needs addressed, then I think that's a district response. That's a district error. And I think Colin summed it up really nicely. We have to find out what they need and make sure the resources are available. If not, we need to provide those resources.
Okay, so last question for our panel today. You guys ready? I'm sure you're all watching the news. Oh, I'm sorry, last one. So as most of us know, it's hard being a child, right? Some kids get bullied, some mature at a slower rate than everyone else. These are things we try to address. We have a lot of programs going on about how to recognize when children are in need, when they have problems. Something we don't really address around here with regards to our school is the safety of our kids. So then we talk about crosswalks and getting them safely to and from school. So there was a recent incident where that boy took a gun to school, right, and acted out his unhappiness. So looking at our schools and how open they are, and they are physically open, gates are open, they're open campuses, we don't want the kids to leave, but anyone can kind of come and go. What do we think we can do to make sure that when our kids leave our house and head to school, they're safe? Any ideas out there? What have we not thought of? How do we help bolster some confidence in our parents sending their children out?
Any one of us? Or-
Anyone?
Okay. I've spent a lot of time on campuses lately, and I have to say that me personally, I walked onto a campus and I didn't stop by the office, and I did it basically to see what would happen. And I can tell you that I had like 3 different faculty, I'm not sure if they were classified or certified, but 3 different employees of the district stopped me and asked me, what if they could help me, like within, not within minutes, within seconds. So I think the first thing that we can do is reassure the parents that the teachers and classified staff are vigilant. They truly are vigilant. in terms of solving a situation like where a child in the district brings a gun to school, well, we're not going to stop that child from coming to school. So the only thing that I can see doing is metal detectors and manning the metal detectors, and we would have to discuss that as, you know, as a district. In terms of people that are not like an adult like me bringing a gun onto campus, I think that I feel a lot better knowing that when I walk onto a campus, I get stopped and asked what I'm doing really quick.
You made my evening by telling that story. Thank you. And I think we need to continue to train our staff and remind them that they're doing a great job with this and they have to continue. Because most people know Colin, and if he's getting stopped, we know the person that the staff does not know that they're getting stopped also. That's an expectation that I've always had as an education professional. We have a responsibility to educate our students as to how to reach out for help. That's the only way, that's our best tool, is to reach the children through mental health services that can be available now that we have a high school that's growing up to 12th grade next year. And just so they have it in the back of their minds. I've seen children go to the school psychologist, go to the counselor when they were feeling that they were in a meltdown. And as long as we keep that in the forefront of the students' minds, hopefully when they're in that meltdown, they'll think of that, oh yeah, that nice Miss So-and-so in the counseling office, maybe I should go talk to her tomorrow, rather than doing something drastic like the student in Washington did.
I agree with Colin. When I go to school, a few years ago I went to school and I was off during the day, so I went there. And we had to pick up my daughter and my wife. I was with my wife, and I just kind of walked towards the school. You know, I didn't go to the office. She goes, where are you going? You got to go to get a sticker for your office. So I think parents realize that too, that if you're visiting for your child, you need to go to the office. And one time I went, another time, and I was stopped pretty quickly. Go, can you go to the office? And they knew who I was. I was on the board at the time, and they knew who I was. They're like, Dr. Corden, can you just go to the office and get a tag? So I mean, I think we are very vigilant, and I think, you know, and I agree with what Colin was saying. You can't stop a child from bringing a gun or a knife to school. And I think Sharon was spot on in the sense that we can't stop it, but we can provide services. So if people are feeling bad or down, we have the services, and they know that the services are available. I think parents should know those services are available too. And in the state of California, a child has confidential, so he can see the psychologist without his parent knowing that. It has to be confidential services, because if the problem's at home, you don't want to discuss, you know, you don't want the psychologist to discuss it with mom there. So.
That was the last question that we had for you. I want to thank you all for coming. Thank you all for your candid responses. We did not give them the questions ahead of time. That was purposeful. So we wanted to get some honest responses, some shocked faces. We want to get you engaged here so people know that you guys are thinking. Okay? Very important. Thank you for engaging today, Dr. O'Toole, Colin, and Sharon.
Thank you. And thank you to Shay for hosting us in the building.
Yes, thank you.
And thank you for all that you guys did putting this on.
Yes.